Hi everyone. Like you, when I started to work with Linux, it was not very clear what I wanted and where do I need to start. Clearly, there are a lot of options, and at some point in time, people can get extremely opinionated about what they want to use and how they want to use. It's not a one solution fits all, but it's much more what do I like to use. Unlike Apple or Microsoft, where do not really have a say or choice on of how the operating system works or what features they're removing or introducing. In Linux, you have this option, so you can pretty much do anything you want. But most of us are not really into deep tech. What we want is to start our computer and do our work. For this purpose, let's look at what we can use and where to start to actually work with Linux. If you go to linux.org, which is the main page, you can see also about 24 popular Linux distributions. As you can see here, some like Ubuntu, CentOS, Debian, Fedora, Linux Mint, Arch Linux, and so forth, like Zorin OS as well, Manjaro, Ubuntu, Netrunner, etc. Do you need to know what every in each does? In time you'll learn out, that's no problem. But it's good to know that you have some options. Now, what is FOSS? It is an open source. They're the same thing. So you have to understand that all Linux distribution comes under FOSS, which means free open source software. That's exactly what this means. So it doesn't mean that it's necessarily every time without cost, because for example, even on Linux, you can find some software that you need to pay for, because there are some teams there which maintain it. That's no problem. But the most important principle is that the software code source, it's open for anyone to use, study, modify, and encode. Something that doesn't happen with Microsoft and macOS. So if Windows or macOS wants to introduce some certain things which you do not agree with, you will not know until maybe it is too late, or you don't know at all because you don't have access to that source code. However, with Linux, the community looks into the code that is put it's inserted into the operating system and said, oh, okay, this works. It's like we, it's nice, we like it, so we want to use it. Or, hey guys, this is bad, I don't think this works, so we don't want you to use this, so we're not gonna allow you to do this kind of stuff. And then the community comes in and says, okay, we don't agree with this, so then it doesn't get pushed in. Or people come and say, you know what, I don't like what you did in Ubuntu, I'm just gonna make a different version like Zorin, or I know Manjaro, which is based on Ubuntu, but then I change some stuff and then I come up with my own Linux, pretty much the way I kind of went. Maybe I like to change the interface and other parts. So now you also understand why there are so many distributions of Linux, because in general there are 2, 3, or 4 variations, like Debian based, Arch Linux based, and a couple of others, which, as I said, in time you'll learn. That's no problem if you start to use Linux. But then let's call this mostly flavors. Like, they look and feel differently, they kind of operate somewhat differently, but they all share a common core. So now you get this kind of understanding. Remember, if you are already professional, maybe this video is not for you, but it's good for everybody who just want to at least try Linux before moving away from Windows or macOS. So now we know what FOSS is as well. It's good to go to this website and check out what other things you can learn from here, which is a good resource. And you start to understand many different uses and what's the novelties in general around this concept. Now, from all this list, I'm gonna tell you about a few of them and the ones that I also started with and then transitioned to a few others. So the first one would be Ubuntu. Now this is one of the most used around the world, and by far out of the box, like Windows and macOS, when you install them or they come pre-installed, it's almost fully loaded. It has the better support and almost the best support for hardware, media files, and so forth. So if you just want to, have a Linux experience that is close to what you're used to in Windows and macOS, just use Ubuntu. This is really good, and it has a lot of options you can read about on their website. Of course, you should go for the desktop version, because if you go to Ubuntu, then you want to see products, and then you see like Ubuntu servers, Snapcraft, and many other stuff. But you just use Ubuntu desktop, and then you download it and install it. I'm gonna get to that as well. So Ubuntu is really good and has also thousands of applications. You just click, install, and use them. Are there free applications there? Yes, most of them are free. Of course, you also get paid ones, like a couple of options I'm gonna show you. But yeah, it's a good experience. So now that we know about this, the second one, and by the way, this is how I started as well initially with Ubuntu. And then I tested a few different ones and I ended up using something else, but we'll get to that. The other option would be Linux Mint, which is another flavor. And it has its own opinionated user interface. But like Ubuntu, again, you have access to a store, you can install software, it has very good driver compatibility out of the box with keyboard, mouses, video, codecs, anything you expect from operating system to work. Go around, check it out, have a look, see how it looks. You can read about the projects, sponsors, you can have an option to download, and so forth. So Linux Mint is there as well. Now, there's also Fedora Workstation. Now, Fedora, a very stable operating systems like also the other ones, but let's say you also might need to add certain things manually. If you don't like to tinker around with terminal and you want to just use like I said previously, out of the box certain stuff, use those things. Don't get me wrong, Fedora out of the box also has very good support for mouse, keyboard, codecs, and so forth. But it's almost, I mean, if you use it, it feels a bit like you're on macOS because you're using GNOME desktop by default. Maybe you like that experience, maybe not. That's what you have to test. But it's a good one that I recommend as well. So maybe I want to say it's maybe for far more advanced users, but if you're very strongly opinionated on how the looks feels, and you want something that's closer to macOS, then I guess this is the one which comes out of the box like that. But again, you can do development work, normal document editing, any kind of work you can imagine. You can do on this one as well. It's also stable, has good releases. I strongly recommend. Now, Zorin OS, it's another one that I strongly recommend for users. Actually, to be honest, if you want, you can skip Ubuntu altogether and go directly to Zorin OS. You can make it look also like Windows if you want, which comes in general out of the box. It feels almost like Windows, but you can also make it look somewhat like macOS if you want, with certain upgrades. Now, Zorin OS has two options. If you go to here to Zorin OS, and you want to download, because of course it's gonna tell you, hey, this is how good it is. You have some pictures, it shows you it's speedy and so forth, and also works greatly with older PCs as well. But if you go to download, you see some options here, and it says The first one is going to be pushed, the Pro version. The Pro version costs at this point in time about 48 euros, so probably around 47 or 46 US dollars, I'm not sure. And why is it paid, since we know Linux is free? Well, the paid version has a few extra options out of the box. Different environments preset up for you. You can quickly switch the looks around. Of course, also the free version has a couple of those options. But Zorin OS chose to get certain things also behind the paywall. But to be honest, I don't mind paying 48 bucks for a software that is well maintained and works. And it's not something like I need to pay every month, and it's not intrusive. And again, this is open source as well. Everybody can read the code, so they can't do any shenanigans behind. So you also have the core and the education. You can learn more about what the education brings. It has pre-installed things, teaching code engineering and so forth. But for most of us, it's just going to be the core version for basic use. Another one that I want to be aware about, because most of the other ones were pretty much Debian and Fedora. I'm sorry, Debian based, what I wanted to say. Now the CachyOS is Arch based distribution, so it differs in terms of what the core runs behind. But in generally, Arch distributions, they're known to be extremely fast, extremely performant, and they don't consume a lot of resources, and they're extremely customizable through the terminal. However, not everybody likes to just install Arch Linux and then fiddle around for like a week just to make this operating system work. For this, I strongly recommend this CachyOS, which comes fully loaded. Literally, if we go to download, you're going to have two options: desktop edition, which is kind of telling you here what they done about it. So out of the box, for example, if I open this image in new tab, you can see it comes out of the box with anything that you want to install, including an application like a store. You can install immediately any kind of multimedia, codecs, video, development tools, text editors like LibreOffice or OpenOffice, whatever you like. So you can do your work without any kind of problems, and the desktop looks amazingly. Not only that, but it comes with a lot of options when we install this operating system. Now, currently, I'm actually running on CachyOS. As you can see, it has also software out of the box. You can install even more software if you like to, fiddle around. But what's the other important thing is that CachyOS finally, for the first time, brings gaming out of the box. It's very stable and it works with beyond 95% of all the gaming around the world. Most of us is going to use something like SteamOS or maybe something out of the box. Let me show you something here. Hero. Something like stores. Well, I don't have a store logged in. Like Epic Store, a good old games store. Yeah, I'm not logged in, I know that. And a few other kind of gaming. So you can install this, including the Ubisoft gaming platform. For example, if I am to open Steam now, runtime, whatever. This is gonna take a bit to open. I can play games out of the box. That's no problem whatsoever. Why is this not opening? Yeah, it's opening. It's a bit slower. That's because I'm also recording, so my machine is not as great as it looks. But there you go. I'm running Steam, and I'm telling you for sure that the games really do work. So this operating system it's good also for work and also for gaming. Granted, there are some things you need to do. This is a newer operating system. The people behind them, they do an amazing job. And if you have a gaming machine and multimedia and you just want to have some fun, I strongly recommend you should use CachyOS. Now, let's move into the recap. So we know there are a bunch of them and you can go around and choose whatever you want. My advice is for you to either look into Ubuntu, Linux Mint, Fedora, Zorin OS, which I strongly recommend you should go with, and then CachyOS. So this is good for gaming and also work at the same time, but as I said, it's a bit more difficult to customize certain things at this point in time. If you just care with only with work, just go with Zorin OS. You can install also games in Zorin OS and Ubuntu and other ones, but that's another discussion for another day. Now let's get into the application part, because a lot of you will be like, yeah, it's good, we can install that, but dude, I need applications. Granted, and I can understand that problem. So Ubuntu comes with its own store. Linux Mint has access to store as well. There are some multiple stores out there that you can use to install things, but what I actually recommend for most of you is to use FlatHub. FlatHub is partially based on Flatpak, which the nice part is, because if you go to the flatpak.org, it's going to tell you, hey, this is how it works, you know, it's good, you install it, blah blah blah. But on the setup part, we can see we can install this on a lot of operating systems based on Linux. So basically the vast majority of them. That's why I strongly recommend you should install Flatpak. Once this is installed, because it's going to tell you, for example, if I'm on Arch Linux, you're going to say, okay, I'm going to click on Arch Linux. It's going to say, hey, this is how you install it. You do a sudo pacman flatpak. Basically, I'm going to do this. Open my terminal, copy this part from here, put it in the terminal, and then install it. However, I already have it installed, and I know that. You can do the same thing, for example, if you go with Fedora or Ubuntu or Zorin OS. As I said, you see, Flatpak support is built into Zorin OS, so you don't have to do anything because it comes by default. So that's one win for the team. I'm pretty much sure on Ubuntu you need to install it. For example, if you look at Fedora, it's going to say, hey, this is the way you do it, and so forth. So it makes sense, right? Now let's go back to FlatHub. This is the store. Now in here, you see you have something like, you know, something like Chrome store or Windows store. You're already used to it. You can see different applications. Hey, where's this application? I can see some details. I can see some photo about the application, and I can immediately choose to install. It's either you do it manually via the command line, or if you already have installed Flatpak in the store, you can just simply install, and that's pretty much it. But the nice part is I have the store installed on my machine. So I can go here, I can look for that part, awesome, and there you go. I can install it, and then I have a new application in my computer. I'm going to install that. I was going to say the application is done, and I'm going to open it. There you go. I have an application with the clear sky, whatever you know, my location it is. Of course, it's not Delhi, India, because I'm not from India, but I'm pretty much sure I can add a new application. Hey, let me see. I don't want India because I'm not from there. Add more location to delete, no problem. I'm gonna say Bucharest or Konya. Does it work? Yes. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna add that. I'm gonna do this one. And in Romania it's about 20 degrees, I think. Yeah, at this point in time, I'm kind of hoping that the alarm sounds from the ambulance didn't came to the video, but it's too late for that. Anyway, so you have this application. Of course, you can just as easily delete the application if you don't like it. It's done. Hit delete, uninstall, and that's it. It's done. So at this point in time, you start to realize, hey, this works. This is almost like what I'm doing in Windows. So it's almost like what I'm doing in macOS. So that's the nice part of using FlatHub and the store. So I can go back to the store and I can see here the trending, popular, things like new, whatever, update and so forth. That's how things works. But now it's the other part. So what if I want to install? So you have this option. You either install it or you test it. Most of the installations with the Linux, it gives you kind of options to test before install. But let's say you don't want to screw up your machine at this point in time, right? You want to install it safely. So what you're gonna do, I said you can either test it on your local machine with a USB drive, or you can use something like a VirtualBox, and then you download this VirtualBox on your computer, and then you use it to run and simulate the Linux installation of your choosing. No worries, I'm gonna show you an example. So first, let's say you want to install this on a computer for a test direct. Okay, no problem. You're just gonna download this Balena HR. Why I'm telling you that this is a good option, because as you can see, it has an installer for Windows, macOS, macOS ARM, Linux, and Linux Legacy. So it's good to make an USB stick. I have already downloaded this. Once you download it, let's move this here. I'm also recording. You go to downloads, then you click extract here. You open this, and then you just say, okay, run Balena Etcher. That's all I want to do. Double click on it. On Windows, you're going to have an executable, an executable.exe file. Here it's a different format. Doesn't matter right now, but that's how you do it. But now you also need a second thing. It says fresh from file. So what you do first, let's say we want to test Zorin OS, right? You go here, you download for free. It's going to say download, it's going to ask your email address, or just skip to download. You just do that, okay? Once you download that, it's going to say, hey, download from different server, blah, blah, blah. It's going to tell you Zorin OS, this is the current version that I have. So you just save that. I already did this part. So I'm going to go back to, let me kill the store, go back here and say fresh from file. I'm going to use this file, open. Inside your USB stick, because you need one, I'm going to select the target. Currently I have Fedora here, but it's no problem. I'm going to select this and say flash. I'm going to input my password. On Linux, usually it's gonna asking you for these kind of things, which is a good thing. Security above everything. You're gonna get used to it. And what this software does right now is just simply erasing the USB and then preparing it as a bootable USB drive with this operating system. Then you just restart your computer, you boot with this option, and then you have there, if you want to try, install, different kind of options. But I'm gonna show you immediately how we can do it through a something like VirtualBox. Oracle VirtualBox, or something else that I am using at this point in time. So something else that I'm using is called, in my case, boxes. So now this is done. It's good. You have a now it's not Fedora stuff. Just a moment. Let me plug this back and recheck to see. Now we have Zorin OS USB drive that it's bootable. That's cool. So let's test this in a virtual box. It's something like a virtual manager. So what I'm gonna do, in your case, you're gonna have this virtual box, but it works in pretty much the same direction. Just quickly, I'm gonna install from file. I'm gonna go to downloads, use Zorin OS, open operating system. I'm gonna increase this to 4 GB of RAM, 20 GB drive. That's good. Okay, so now you see we can test this on a virtual machine, which is separated from the operating system that we run. So it's not going to overwrite anything. You're just going to install a box, and in this box you have this operating system. So what I was saying, you say you have try or install Zorin OS as well. So this goes ahead, it starts to install different kind of things. This might take a bit. That's not too much of a deal. Let's wait. And this is the nice part, because you can install and test on your Windows machine or macOS machine different operating systems. You can put Zorin OS, you can put Fedora, Debian, Linux Mint, all those things that I was telling you about. Hey, you can do this and then see how it feels, how it works before you actually do anything else. So this might take a while. You see, it says try Zorin OS or install. Let's say I just want to try Zorin OS for the moment. Have a beautiful thing. It says English, blah blah blah, and so forth. I'm gonna do a couple of installs at some point in part. But right now, here's the nice part. This is my current operating system. Nothing is changed, but I also have Zorin OS now installed, which is a different operating system. There you go. You have it. So you can see all apps. I'm pretty much sure it has something like store here as well, software. You can come here and install and explore. It's gonna take a bit time until it loads, because this is now running in this virtual machine and I haven't installed a lot of the stuff. So I'm just in a testing mode, so it needs to kind of catch up with certain things and download this stuff and so forth. And I can do in here pretty much the same thing I've done in the other part. See what I can use for work and so forth. But anyway, have something like display settings. You see, you can fiddle around with this. How about changing maybe I know, background? You can do stuff like that. Not bad at all. And this is how things are done. But I'm just gonna switch also to dark mode. That's very nice. We like it. Let's see, can we move this? Taskbar. Lock taskbar. Yes, I can unlock taskbar. Taskbar settings, things like this. Maybe I don't like the position. Maybe I move the position to top, or maybe left, right, bottom, whatever have you. So this is the way it works. Now I'm gonna shut down this. Click here, power off. Yes. It's gonna shut down. It's like, yes, please remove the media installation, and then press enter, and I'm done. So nothing happened on my true operating system. I'm still there. Okay, now we have a somewhat of a broader understanding on what kind of operating systems you can install. Please go ahead, review all of the sections we discussed, choose one and go with it. Nice part is, as I said, you can go here at the FlatHub org and then start to see what productivity tools, graphics and photos you can use, audio, video, educational software, games, networking, any kind of stuff you want to do, you will find it there. For example, if you're in development, you can go here. Most of you developers already know that. But let's say you want browsers, you see, so or Telegram or Discord, you can go into networking, you can install these kind of things. It says here they already have installed these things, but you can install many other options here. I mean, you just take your time and fiddle around and see if you find what you want. I'm gonna make a separate video anyway on all this store and go about some other software, present them, see how to use them. Okay guys, that's pretty much it. Make a choose of what you want. This is good for work and gamings, but especially for gaming. it's a no-brainer. I strongly recommend. Start with Zorin OS, my recommendation, and then fool around with Fedora, Linux Mint, and Ubuntu, and see what you like to have. I said currently I'm using CachyOS, and it's worth noting one more thing I wanted to show you. CachyOS has also this thing that is called a welcome screen. We have application and tweaks. You can install directly gaming packages. You can also install out of the box audio, software, communication, like Discord, Elements, Teams, whatever have you, development stuff, games, including if you want, graphics. It has a good support out of the box, and also for NVIDIA. For example, in my case, if I'm running NVIDIA, as you can see, it's already here. It says what I have on my machine. And you can do some settings of the quality, whatever have you. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks a lot, and please, if you like, to subscribe and like and share, the usual stuff. Otherwise, Google won't show this to people interested to actually learn where you need to start if you want to go with Linux. Thank you.